Welcome back to TRX On Demand. Today we're here with a 30-minute lower body recovery routine. This is called Rock Your Recovery. My name is Nentarz. I'm a physical therapist and TRX master instructor. Today we're going to use our rocker and a yoga mat and gravity. That's all the equipment you'll need. We're going to go from the bottom up, working to improve blood flow, enhance tissue pliability and mobility, all meant to drive the body's adaptation system. And by the way, you're gonna feel really good after this session too. So let's go ahead and grab your rocker or your roller, and we're gonna start from the bottom up with our calves. So sitting down in a comfortable position with your body alignment straight, we are gonna put our rocker on what's called lockdown mode. In addition, I'm gonna be on my level 1, so my low intensity zone. And then I am going to start with my right leg, mid-calf, right up on the rocker. From here, we want to do a little arm and arm. We call this relax and release. So the point of rocking or releasing our tissue is to get to relax. So allow your body to relax, allow the foot to relax, and allow gravity to drop your leg into the rocker surface. Then from here, we're going to start to move the leg just a little bit. So I'm windshield wipering my leg, making sure I'm not over tensing my body, just keeping myself relaxed. We're going to be hitting each body part for about 60 to 90 seconds, which is optimal. The nice thing is minimal effective dose has been shown up to be 30 seconds only. So that's good news. If you don't have a lot of time, if you don't have a full half hour like we do today, a little bit will go a long way. Start to work your body up a little bit more. So here I am again, just sort of using that rocker. Because it's in lockdown position, I can push my leg down into the rocker, giving myself more of that trigger point release that we're familiar with. And the added value is I can start to move my leg. Get a couple more passes at spots that might feel tight. And then we're going to go to zone 2. So with our edge facing away from us, I am going to flip the rocker upside down, so I have a little bit more aggressive edge now. And we're going to go to a level 2 movement, which we call camming. So what we're going to do is leverage our body weights. We're going to lift our body up. We're going to press down into the rocker and then pull my tissue forward. So I press up into the rocker, down, and then cam. So here I'm using the unique shape of the rocker to go from a more widely distributed pressure to a more focal pressure. This also starts to stimulate some of those effleurage or petrissage techniques that we'd be familiar with in massage therapy. So this is called camming. Again, we're going to get about a minute on the right side here. In addition to camming, what we could do is add active motion. So I'm going to press down, start to cam, and then pull my toes towards my shin as I go over that tissue. Get it to relax, reset. I'll press down, pull up, add active motion. So now I'm only getting to the contractile element of the body's tissues here, but we're also starting to shear some of the superficial tissues and fascia that envelop that muscle as well. Great job. So there was our right calf, and we had 3 techniques, so we'll do the same thing on our left side. So we'll start with the rocker in lockdown in low level zone. We'll get the mid belly of the calf up on the rocker, find a comfortable position, add some breathing. Hopefully you guys have your favorite relaxation music on. I tend to just like podcasts or audiobooks when I'm doing this stuff. I find those relaxing. Move your body over the rocker, allow your system to relax. R and R. I'm a new part of the muscle. Recovery, remember, it's not just about the physiology of our tissues, it's about our nervous system too. So while we're here, take the opportunity to breathe. Great job setting this time apart for yourself to get your body feeling right. When we're intentional with what techniques we're using, it just makes that time worth your while just a little bit more. Move up. We'll get another couple passes before we move to our level 2 camming technique. So this is great on days where you might be a little sore, or if it's in the morning, you're just starting to get loosened up. Ooh, there's a spot there. Awesome, let's move to level 2. Edge facing me, facing away. Here we are. Let's go into our camming. So the edge is facing away. I'm on my medium intensity zone, I'm going to lift my body up and press down. Lift my body up, press down. Starting to work that tissue from the lower part of my leg back to the center of my body. And that's how we want that blood flow to go. Start to add your active motion technique as well. So now it's a press, it's a cam with active motion. So we're doing everything we can to start to get that tissue flow back to the heart, start to release those tissues. This is great to do if you just got off the trail for a run, or if you've been doing a lot of lower intensity, high interval training. That's the thing right now. All right, there we go. So that was our left and right calf. We had a level 1 technique as well as a level 2 technique. Now we're going to move on to our quad. And again, I am going to put the rocker on what we call lockdown mode. And watch what we do here. So the setup is going to be lying face down, like a sunny side down, and the rocker is going to be in our mid quad with our left leg out to the side. Here, I'm going to set my posture and allow my body to relax. We're just focusing on trigger point release right now. So allow your right leg to be heavy. Allow the rocker to sink up into the tissues, releasing that quad. When we're holding trigger points, we're going to hold about 30 seconds. In addition to this holding, we can start to add active motion. So active motion, bringing my heel to my butt. Now the rocker is great because I'm a little lower to the ground right now, so my back's in a comfortable position. Because I'm not afraid of moving, I'm able to bring my heel to my butt. The stability, lockdown position allows me to have mobility in other places. So now we're getting the benefits of the rocking of the soft tissue of the quad with the stretching. So we call that a twofer, 2 techniques in 1. So after we've articulated 5 times at the knee, let's start to move through the hip. So we call this windshield washer. So I'm windshield wipering my leg. Windshield wiper, that is. My apologies. I hit a tight spot if I skip on my language. So there's a tight spot. I'm just going to, now that I found it, I'm going to rock on it. So now again, combining the techniques, the relax release technique, the active motion technique, and my rocking. And because that was a big muscle group, we take a little longer. We go about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And again, we're a lower body focused recovery today, so don't rush this. Take your time. Great, nice work. Let's go ahead and switch sides. I'm going to keep this side facing the camera. That way you can see what I do with my opposite leg. Options are this: hang out. Options are bring the leg up. I like this position because it helps me support my body. It helps me find that trigger point in the quad, which is going to be maybe a little bit on the outside, more towards the center of the muscle belly. And then once you find that, release. And we hold for about 20 or 30 seconds. And then we can start to add active motion. Start bringing the heel to the butt. And I'm definitely a little tighter on this side. So instead of diving head first or doing a cannonball, I'm going to dip my toe in the water and just slowly start to ease some motion into my leg. Let's say usually about 5 times. That'll give us about 30 seconds. And after we've articulated and moved to the knee, let's start to windshield wiper that leg, moving from the hip now. Be mindful of your overall posture. Be mindful of your breath. Keep the pelvis level as you start to move that thigh, releasing that tissue in the front of the thigh. One final breath, release over that rocker. Oh, that's a good one there. And awesome. Now we are going to stay on the left leg. And now we're going to do the ITB. So let me show you real quick. I don't necessarily want to get on the outside of my thigh. I want to get on the front outside of my thigh. So not in the front of the thigh where we're off to the side a little bit. And I am going to be really high. So I'm going to hit this targeted window here, right below the bone of my pelvis. That's called your TFL. TFL goes to the outside of the knee through the ITB. We don't want to work the ITB, but we do want to hit the TFL. So watch what we do here. Rockers in lockdown. I'm going to orientate my body, make it flat, turn my body, and then sink. I'm gonna allow my left leg to come to the ground. And then once I found that point, I'm really gonna sink into it. I'm gonna use that surface of the rocker to let it sink up into my tissues. And then I'm gonna relax. Great things to do here, what we call articulation now, would be to move through the pelvis. So when I say articulation, it generally means how we're moving from the spine. And I say active motion, it usually means how we're moving through the legs. So here I'm articulating, doing just a little bit of a pelvic tilt, which subtly changes my body position on the rocker, allowing me to find new tissue to release. Then we can also add heel to the butt. So again, even though I'm on that TFL, there is a function of knee flexion with that chain of muscles. So leverage that position, find that outside / front thigh, and then articulate, move through that knee. So that's our active motion articulation techniques for the TFL. Again, that was my targeted area. Let's hit that other side. Keeping that rocker in lockdown mode. Find that TFL, front of the hip, outside of the hip, find that sweet spot. There it is. And then do a little R&R. Relax, release, add some breath. Now, if you want a little more advanced technique, would be actually to get to the outside of the rocker where I can start to leverage that point into my tissue. That's again more just focal technique. And because the rocker's on lockdown, I'm not going anywhere. Start to articulate through the pelvis, the spine a little bit. Keep that spine long and lean. Remember, a lot of the muscles in our thigh also attach to our pelvis or our spine. So when we immobilize them, it's not only important to move from the lower leg, like your knee, but also to the pelvis and your upper spine as well. Great job. Start to add a little bit of bending through the knee now. So again, we can bend, do what it takes to find that spot that's sore. Only rule, lengthen your body, be mindful of your breath. Do what feels good to you. Awesome work. Excellent. Excellent. So now we're going to move to our glute area. Now there's a whole bunch of muscles that are in this area. Some say piriformis, some say glutes. In reality, we're hitting all of those. And we're going to begin with our rocker in lockdown position. And enter the position with me. So we're thinking right thigh. So I'm going to start with the center of my right thigh and cheek in the center of the rocker. And then from here, with the left leg bent supporting my body weight, we're going to cross the right leg onto our left knee. So now I have lengthened that tissue in my right hip, adjust as needed, and then I'm just going to hang out. So here again, just allowing that tissue to release, doing a little bit of rocking, doing a little bit of moving my body over the stable surfaces, which is a little different technique, both which feel good. If you want, you can extend the leg. I'm going to slide down a little bit and start to get that edge up into the hip, that glute area. And option, articulate here, getting that leg to relax. It's not easy to do, especially if it's sore, but it's worth the chase. Great work. Let's switch sides. So now we're going off to the left side. If you want to go for it right away, bring the left leg over the right leg. Keep that spine straight. Leverage that body. Oh, I got a good spot there. I'm just going to hang out. Pause you, breathe a little bit. As you exhale, allow your body to sink into the rocker. And I'll grab you to work for you. Articulate to the pelvis. Ooh. Take a tear just ran down my cheek. Release the leg and move the hips. Start to add a little windshield wipering. We've been here before. I'm usually more sore on the right side than the left, but today it's not the case. The left side is definitely a little more sore. And that's okay. I'll come back to it a little bit later too. All right, so there we have it. We have our hip rotators. So we've done our calves. We hit our quad. We did our TFL. We hit our hip rotators. Now we're gonna work our hamstrings. So we're gonna go a little more advanced technique here. So with the low intensity zone facing us, we are gonna put the edge into the mid of muscle belly of my hamstring. And then from here, it's very simple. I can relax, release the leg, let the edge of the rocker do the work here. And this is a tough area to get. It's very, muscular on most of us, very tight on most of us. So sometimes the normal rounded edge just don't do the trick. This is perfect. It's not too sharp, but it's just enough to get into the tissues. What I also like to do here is add that windshield wiper. Windshield wiper, a lot of times that outer hamstring's sore, and then you could add a little bit of active motion with the knee. Great job. Now let's move that edge up just a little bit higher. Check this out. Again, another advanced technique. What I'm going to do is grab the outside of my rocker, and then I'm going to rock the rocker back and forth while I'm relaxing my leg. So here, I'm creating a little bit of shearing tissue force, mimicking almost like a true myofascial release. Not necessarily getting into the deep contractile element, but we're starting to shear those superficial tissues across each other, adding mobility. I'm going to move that down a little bit. So again, this is just another technique. And as you're going through these, keep in mind what really works for you and come back to it. There's going to be certain things that work great and you really love. There's going to be other techniques that are like, skip those or find something else that does work in that tissue. So there we have it. Let's go to the other side. Hamstring on the edge, mid muscle belly first. A lot of times that's where those true trigger points are found. So that's where we're going to target. Release the right side. Here we have it. Just moving my body, allowing the edge to do all the work. Get articulation through the pelvis. You can add active motion through the lower leg. If you need, move the rocker around, find tissue that feels tight to you, and then continue on. So again, that outer hamstring tends to be a little bit of a nuisance at times. So with this piece of equipment, I can really get that tissue effectively, where other times you just can't. Great. Okay, let's move on to our shearing technique. Let's go upper hamstring. Relax the body, relax the leg. Start to rotate that rocker, introducing a little bit of shearing into that hamstring. Really working, 1 to 2 inches at a time, not a ton. When it comes to mobility, small things make big things happen. It really does. Little changes will go a long way. The key is frequency, not intensity. Frequency, not intensity. And finding the best technique that works for you. Everyone's a little bit different. So continue to seek out what that best technique is. And a hint, the best technique now might not be the best technique for you in 4 weeks or a year from now. That's why we're here, to help you your journey. So there we had it, our hamstring shearing technique. So that was it. That was our rocker lower body basic recovery. So we hit our calves. We gave you a couple different levels there. We hit our quads. We worked by articulating through the pelvis and the knee. We worked our ITB. We worked our hips, and we finished with hamstring. Not only did we hit the whole lower body, but hopefully you got a little chance to see some of the very unique techniques that the rocker offers for the lower body. Again, thanks for joining me on this Rock Your Lower Body Recovery session. My name is Chris Nentarz. Feel free to reach out to me if you need anything. I hope to see you here soon on more TRX On Demand.